Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the IGE debate. The theme of our debate is China's new entertainment age. We understand that in recent years that the entertainment industry in China has been developing very fast. I got this data from 2016. In the entertainment content industry, the scale is about 300 billion yuan. Under this growth, about 30%. In 2030, it will be about 1 trillion yuan. There are four aspects to it in the content. For example, film, variety, programs, and game industry. These are four aspects, which about 380 billion yuan. The topic today is the fast growth of China's entertainment industry. What are the trends? What are the patterns? What are the new points of innovation? What are the new challenges? First, let me introduce to you our panelists today. Let me start from the left. Mr. Wu Bofan, editor-in-chief of Bofan's Time. Mr. Zhang, managing director of China Culture Industrial Investment Fund. Rachel Catanach, president and senior partner of Fleishman-Hillard. Mr. Ying Shuling, chief executive officer of Hero Entertainment. Ms. Zhao, founder and chief executive officer of TMT Post. Our first question, let's start from my left. I'll start from the ladies. Lady first. We all know that the China's entertainment industry is developing very fast. Ms. He, you are in the media industry. You've been paying close attention to the development. You're really insightful in this industry. So in terms of China's entertainment industry, from the products, innovation, technological innovation, as well as business model, which one is the most important innovation for us? These are all very important. Mr. Wu Bofan is sitting there. He should start first, but he said lady first. But I think Mr. Wu Bofan is one role model that is transitioning from a scholar into the entertainment industry. He's bringing a wave of innovation, bringing a lot of celebrities from the scholars field into entertainment industry, making themselves products. So this in itself is an innovation. There are several factors or several very important innovations that will affect the development of China's entertainment industry. One, let's take a look at TMT. This is a media and culture industry link. We think that the development of technology is extremely important in pushing forward the development. Especially, there are several ways of technology. For example, VR, AR, augmented reality. So recently, we have seen Teresa Teng's concert using this kind of technology. And also in film industry, we're using different technologies with the maturation of the technologies, we're seeing the improvement or different diversities in the formats of entertainment forms. We're seeing a transformation of the industry. There are two waves. One is, as you said, the innovation of business model and products. Originally, we thought that relying on the films, entertainment, we put more emphasis on box office. Now we're seeing more merchandises, like one wave of iCat or some other companies in the film industry are growing very fast. The maturation of this industry, as we're seeing a professionalization of the whole industrial chain. In the past 20 years, we haven't finished this maturation process. So we're still continuing the professionalization of this industry. A lot of time we're focusing on the celebrities, the film stars, but how can we professionalize this career? In the US, it's an industry. It's a very mature, established industrial chain. Be it the economy, the ecosystem. When a celebrity is a film, first, it's a professional actor. It's not a film star. They have to fulfill the role responsibility. But now, when we see a lot of celebrities in China, the fresh meat, the so-called fresh meat in the China's film industry, they're not good actors. They're just idols. Recently, I saw a very famous director in an interview. He was shooting a drama. It's called Bofan. It's such a good director, but it came up with such a bad product because Chinese actress like Angela Baby, she's not a very good actress. She's a poker face. With such a good novel, it basically ruined the novel and break the heart of a lot of book fans. Because whenever she came to work, she has to calculate how many hours she spent in shooting. Whenever she got on the vehicle, she starts counting on how much money she can get. But the director says, I have very limited budget. If the actors cannot put as much time in the shooting, it would not get very high quality product. So this is still a process of maturation and professionalization. It relies on the effort of the whole industry. It will be a very important step for the film industry, as well as the pushing forward of the technology. It will affect the development of China's entertainment industry. I'm from iQIYI. I've been in the web streaming service for 7 years. During the past 7 years, we've seen the fast development of China's economy. We've seen a lot of changes. Some changes are good, and some changes are bad. Or we have seen inevitable challenges in this fast development. For example, the high pay of those celebrities. We've seen a lot of incentive in the industry. For example, we invested some high-profile works with a lot of young celebrities. And the target audience is for the younger generation. Their taste, their preference are very different from the previous generations. There are several changes in here. The population structure is consistent with the audience of the internet because the older generation are always looking or reading or watching programs online. Renmin the Mingyi, that's one very famous, well-known drama in 2017. One of the top 10 programs, TV dramas in iQIYI. The top one is, I think it's Jing Xiu Wei Yang, another drama. Not a very good one. People have different tastes, I agree. Probably the X and Y generation will prefer this drama. The top two one, a lot of traffic came from the people, the 70s and 80s. Because a lot of the generation like different diversity of the programs. Once there's shift in the audience, we see a shift in the investment. Previous investment goes to those ads or works that are attractive to the younger generation. Now we're seeing a shift in the investment. They used to invest in TV dramas, but now they're investing in online dramas, web dramas. Now we're seeing a boom in the investment in the internet. We're seeing a lot of directors and actors actually putting effort in the web dramas. So we're seeing a lot of revenue coming from not only from ads, but also from different works. So we're seeing innovation in technology, business model, and the work models. Take the game industry as an example. The game industry is developing very fast. We're seeing people losing money in film, in TV dramas. But the game industry last year was 160 billion yuan. A lot of people think that the game industry will continue to make money. Do you think you will continue this momentum of development? Are there any bubbles in the game industry? Any concerns? We're talking about entertainment today. A lot of times, what kind of format is true entertainment? Recently, I was talking with some friends on distributed by Warner Brothers. It was a film coming from India, a very good box office in China, because it has good reputation in China. So we were thinking, I heard that in the film industry, it is hard to make investment. It's hard to make a profitable movie because when I talk with my friends, if you feel a lot of pressure when you go out to watch a movie because you have to invest 4 hours if you want to go out to watch a movie. But for 4 hours, you can play games on the internet. You can chat with your friends. You can listen to an audiobook. You can watch iQIYI. You can watch 2 episodes of a drama. But if you spend 4 hours in a movie theater, you can only watch 1 movie. Because of such big time pressure, there's a lot of 20/80 rule in the film industry. A lot of people only watch 1 film per month. They will only choose to watch the film that has the best reputation on the internet. I would love to watch a lot of films, but I have limited time. But for the games, be it film, TV drama, games have a shorter cycle of production. One advantage of the games is interactions. A lot of people are envious of the game industry because once you run a game, you can operate it for more than 10 years. But for films, the cycle is very short. There's only like 2-week cycle or 1-month cycle for returning investment. But when we're actually producing a game, there's a very short time frame for us to actually design the game. It's hard to get the feedback from the audience. For example, when a player is playing a game, there are any changes. In one night, there will be changes to the game. Probably the monster will never be in this world anymore. But today, when you play this game, you're not very happy. There will be adjustments. So we have a really quick feedback mechanism in the game industry. When you are interact with the game, every movement, every behavior will distribute feedback to the game industry. And then it will be changes to the whole game world. Everyone, when you're playing one game, you feel like you are dominating the world. You are dominating the hero you're playing.
However, when you're watching a film or a TV drama, you can't help those people who are in trouble in the plot. You're substituting, you're projecting yourself into the drama, but you can't change anything. So you want to go somewhere freer, right? Now, when it comes to electronic sports, there's something that's really interesting. So you're starting to see live streaming, live cast of games. You're seeing live casts of tournaments or of electronic sports. So a lot of people know the game, The Glory of the King, 王者荣耀. A lot of people play this game. A lot of people are watching tournaments on this game. So we're making some games that can be live cast, and it is feeding into a different but affiliated industry. That's a content industry that's affiliated with games. A lot of people are creating content. We did a little bit of a survey. There's a game that we have tens of millions of people who are playing this game, and a tenth of the people would actually turn on live cast to show off their game to other people. That means 1 million people are live casting the game. They are creating content for you. So when you play King of Glory, well, you would want to broadcast your game. You want to share. You're creating a video. So we're seeing a convergence between the game industry and the video industry. So we're not just playing the game, we're showing people, myself playing the game. I want to show people how I'm doing the game. So I think this is a new era that's emerging. And for the game industry, we're going to see continued growth. On a certain level, we are probably the most responsive to consumer feedback. We can create competition, electronic sports. We can also create videos. So there's room for growth. What do you think? What do you think, Bofan? We talked about drama, TV and film drama. We talked about game. Basically, we're asking to consume your spare time. So how do we get consumers to spend money when they're spending their free time? There is what's called the general domestic time. We're fighting for the time, right? And there are certain things like paying for knowledge, attempts to get people to pay for knowledge, but people are actually spending more of their money on entertainment. Entertainment it's an industry that needs significance, which means something needs to be interesting to attract people. If you can go through stages of a game, it has meaning for you. Then you might want to see film and TV drama based on games. That started 20 years ago. So in that sense, I think the meaning industry has existed since ancient times. Religion is the typical virtual reality industry. It has a virtual reality that's somehow connected to the true reality. So when somebody holds a Bible, say, their nephew is holding a phone, and so you've got this nephew just catching Pokemons on their phone, and so then a few kids get into a fight when they try to catch the same Pokemon creatures. Then the Bible holder realizes the kids are fighting over a scripture, and in the old days people fought in Jerusalem over scriptures. It's really the same deal. There are industries of virtual realities. You were saying what? 98% of people will just be killing their time and waiting for the end of their life. In the future, the states would feed you in the future, and people would just spend their time playing games. So the day you're born, you are just eating. The state will provide for that, and then your main thing will be. It will be meaningless. Your birth would not be any meaningful because you don't have to worry about a livelihood. 98% of people won't have to worry about their livelihood, about feeding themselves. That will be the state of the future. So in the future, this industry will become bigger and bigger. It has a lot of history. That's how religion did it in the past. They didn't have the technology. That's the only difference. Now, with the technology, things will be easier and easier. There will be a further convergence of the virtual and the actual realities. So there will be what's called ACT. A is about the audience. The audience will be more audiences of virtual realities. Even the older generation like ourselves, we're more used to virtual stuff. But the core of the audience will be young people. So the quality of content will very much depend on the audience. A director was saying the other day, rubbish audiences will cause the production of rubbish films, and just like Angus said, quality of the population will determine the quality of the government. It's the same rule. So there will be various audiences in the future. The audiences will decide what the content is. Yeah, Hejuan was saying earlier, she was criticizing the creators of the content, but I realize, we're the minority. But a few days ago, somebody was recommending a TV historical drama to me. They said, this production rediscovers the dignity for Chinese TV drama, which is true after I took a look. But if you get young people to watch this kind of serious drama, they can't even stand half an episode. So I think the quality and the quantity of members of the audience will determine the quality of the content in the future. But I feel you gave the example of White Deer, the TV drama. But I think that actually disapproves what you said. You, I think entertainment is meaningless. I think games are meaningless. You're just killing time. You're just bored, right? You play these things. No, no. Religion is different. Religion is the meaning industry. They pursue explanations about our lives, about the world. No, but if I can kill monsters in the game, that's the meaning for these players. That's a temporary. It has temporary meaning. It has transient meaning. But then you have games that you can play for a whole life. These can be tied into film and TV production, and they will be online and offline. And an imaginative company will come up with a game that starts the day you are born, and a kid will be brought up, being fed the content in books, in cartoons, in games, and to the day they die. I think religion has meanings, but to young people, it's actually meaningless. It's like the older people looking at young people playing games. They think that's meaningless. That's very philosophical. It's getting very philosophical. Let me finish here. Let me say, yeah, people who play games would not treat game as their belief, their spiritual beliefs. Let's see, what's it called? King of Glory, right? You're not going to think, you're not going to treat that hero as your belief, but that's the meaning of it. No, no. A refers to the audience. Now come back to this. Yeah. C is capital. C refers to capital, and the capital determines the taste of the capital determines the final form of the content. Why is it that in 2016 we saw so many trash films, garbage film? Because there was so much capital. There were so many crap scripts, and there was there was so much poor crap capital for so much crap scripts, and they don't even care about the quality. They actually contributed to the deterioration of quality of film. No, it's all about money, right? It's all about profit, and they still can turn a profit. That's the interesting thing. No, let me correct. Last year, the top film was this year's top one is Sansheng the three lives. It's actually not so bad. Has anyone watched Sansheng the three lives, three incarnations? If you look at the quality, if you look at the production, it's a film that has some. It has some significance. It's not like last year, Wei Yang. It was so much bad. So it was so. I watched White Deer as well. White Deer is completely different. So T is for technology. So technology will determine the trend of entertainment. We're talking about online and offline, TV, film, and game, and maybe real experiences. Harry Potter theme parks. These will be based on technology. So ACT will determine the future of entertainment. So it's hard to be the 2% of the population. We're all going to become, most of us, 98% will be the majority, and we're going to just be living on entertainment till we die. Well, it may not be a bad thing, right? I mean, this is the reality. We have an explosion of leisure. People are saying they're busy. It's actually not true. A lot of people are just dying of leisure. People feel they're busy because they are tense. It's not that they have real things to do. They're just anxious. There are a lot of real things waiting for them to do. They just want to sit down and play a game to dispel that anxiety. We were talking about a few philosophical things. Nietzsche said, our life is all about meanings. Now we have so much leisure time. We're turning our attention to health, and entertainment is taking up a lot of attention. So the question is, how do we do entertainment? How do we how do we give meaning to entertainment? So entertainment needs to come to the core of that is an industry of meaning. We want to see more productions like White Deer, like in the people's name. But there's no, you can't. A lot of people would say that's not right. They think they have their own meanings. There are different meanings. They want to construct a world based on their own meanings. So there will be big voices everywhere. So they were talking about capital, right? We were blaming everything on capital. Bubbles, etc. So much trash movies, trash films made with big capital. How many projects have you invested in? How many have disappointed you? Well, I thank you for leaving capital to later. I'm pleased that you have discussed about other things first, because every time you talk about capital, like it's evil. It's all about hiking the prices, creating bubbles. In reality, I think as we talk about entertainment today in China, I think there are a few key words here. First of all, the keyword is the density of time. We're in investment. We're always looking at the stage where the industry is at. In China, I think we're in the second half. I think we are at a higher point on the curve of growth. So if we look at the whole population, we have very different distributions of time, allocation of time between us. So be it the entertainment industry or just film industry or TV, if you want to fight for absolute amounts of time, you're going to lose. The absolute time, everybody is fighting for that. So we think, in the second half of the game, we want to fight for the efficiency of the time or the unit time that you spend on something. So if we're just fighting for fixed time, like you want, let's say somebody who plays 2 rounds of the glory game before they go to bed, right? You only have these 5 minutes every day, but let's try and achieve the best results out of these 5 minutes.
Be the skills or the technology improvement, I would like to satisfy myself in the 5 minutes. But I think in this regard, we have come to a very key period in the future. I'm not so sure whether it's meaningful or meaningless, but the efficiency of the time has come to this stage. From the capital's perspective, this is the case. Another key word for China's entertainment industry is pay service. Just now, we also mentioned technology, the model, demand, policies. These are 4 elements in this sector. In the past several years, we have come to a stage where I feel that that paid service has been rising very quickly, be it some traditional form like ads, advertisements online. But when we take a look at China's video service, paid video service, for example, we might have come to 100 million paid users who are willing to pay for web streaming services. The revenue coming from the paid users are actually equivalent to the traditional model. So this is a turning point. When we take a look at we have 600 million people watching online videos. We will see this curve. We will see a growth of 15%. That is appear when we compare it to the US. The same number might be 40% in the US. In China, we have 600 million people. So in the future, I think there's so much room for development. So in this paid business model, the transformation of this model will totally change the whole industrial chain, upstream and downstream changes. If we can master the audience in our hand, the model of production and the model of interaction will be changed fundamentally. I do investment, and I think there are two keywords. One is time density, the other is paid service. This will be two keywords for the future. Thank you. Content marketing for Rachel. I know you are an expert in this field. A lot of people have read an article. It's about every industry is entertainment. Every brand wants to attract the young generation. The core is happiness. Happiness and entertainment. All the entertainment content, including drama, celebrities, are closely linked to these keywords. What's your view on this trend? What are some new trends or new features in China that we should pay attention to?
The really interesting thing listening to this discussion is that we've talked a lot about rubbish audiences and rubbish content. And I really want to start from a storytelling perspective because I think that's my background. And as a Western observer of the industry, I've seen a lot of changes, and it goes back to your question about happiness and entertainment being very connected to brands as well. I think, I've been in this part of the world for 11 years, and my first exposure was Hidden Tiger, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And of course, that was a film that got international box office. It was a very particular film, a genre film. And I think what it showed was a certain cultural confidence. And I think when you talk about rubbish content and rubbish audiences, there's a push-pull factor. It's not just about the audience and it's not just about the content. I also think the opportunity is to really develop a self-confidence with your own stories. And this is something that I think has been developing, but can develop more. And you see it in other markets, and not to draw any comparisons in reality, but with Korea and Japan, who, with their cultural confidence, they could export made in China to made for the world. And I think that's the next phase. When you talk about time and paid service, it's also how do you create content that is original, that shows a cultural confidence, and also is something that not only appeals to a huge domestic audience, but has the ability to really go beyond China. And I think with that comes the opportunity, particularly with technology, the intersection of gaming, to create other commercial opportunities. Brands will be seeking more ways to create customer connections, engagement, the happiness thing, and they'll be doing that through mini movies, through content that tells stories beyond the actual brand. You know, they'll be doing it in a way that tells stories about everyday individuals, their ordinary lives that make a difference. And this evolution, if you like, of content, so it's not just celebrity-based, but is really authentic to what China is about, your everyday stories, I think we'll see a whole new evolution in the industry and connection with brands. And you'll see not only homegrown brands adopting entertainment as a way to really market themselves, and that's already happening obviously in the sports arena, but also in the fast-moving consumer goods. But you'll see also Western brands seeing Chinese content as a way to build audiences not only in China but outside of China as well. And that's a very exciting thing. But I don't think from a cultural confidence point of view, you're there yet, you know, in terms of creating that original content that sort of sparks a light for the rest of the world.
You talk about cultural confidence. How can we produce good content? It is related to the supply and demand reform. Bofan, Zhang, what is your view on the supply side reform? For example, the supply of content. What are the aspects of reform in this regard? We are seeing a great number of films, entertainment products, be it TV dramas, online dramas. Every day in my email, I receive a lot of scripts of TV dramas. A lot of girls around me want to be in the entertainment industry. They want to do jobs associated with the entertainment industry. But while we're in this fast-evolving era, whether the content we're putting into this industry is good quality ones. We're seeing a lot of investment, but we're not seeing an increase of good quality content. How do we reform the supply side? Let's leave alone the rubbish audience first. Let's go back to the reality of China. Content production capability is a big crisis. Let's put aside entertainment industry. One airline company like Hainan Airline, they put so much money in marketing, in government relations. However, when they write a press release with only 5 lines, there's so many grammatical problems and punctuation problems in this press release. They round the wrong word, power and right. They cannot tell the difference between power and right. They have $600 billion revenue, such a huge corporation. They cannot do a very well press release. And another example, a new president of a new internet company. In their PowerPoint presentation, in the first 3 slides, there are so many mistakes. I understand that the salary of this president is very high. And the people who are working for him must be more than 6-digit annual income. We have so many people proofreading the PowerPoint presentation, but there's so many mistakes. Even if you can make a decent press release, that would be a good person, a very professional. A good script is very rare in this industry. A lot of people are killing our imagination. They're simplifying expressions. They're simplifying our feelings towards the word. The emotions, the vocabulary is quickly decreasing. Vocabulary is not only about the language ability. The decrease of vocabulary is simplifying your feedback, your feelings towards the work. I was recently reading a book about a vocabulary of 30,000 with good education can be measured by how big your vocabulary is. A good family education versus a bad education. Because in a bad education family, the only thing they would say is sleep, eat, go away. That's a sentence they use every day. These are some tagline conversations. They're only using very simple expressions. A vulgar woman would not, they would only use very vulgar expressions. Their vocabulary, their ways of feeling this word, of feeling this world are very different. So the industry is facing a crisis. It's really hard to find a decent writer, playwright who can write a decent script because they do not have this rich vocabulary to express their emotions. So this supply side crisis is that people who are uncultured, who are producing cultural content for this entertainment industry, they're still making money, but this model would not be sustainable. So you are saying that in the future, 98% people will be only killing time in the future. They will play games until their death. Their vocabulary is reducing. But as a person in this industry, a lot of people are challenging, are questioning the problems in this industry. A lot of parents would say that because games is helpful for developing intelligence in our children. But Mr. Boy is saying that if you play games, your vocabulary will become smaller. But the changes in our vocabulary or your capability in producing a good presentations or your capability in writing a good press release are not very related to whether you play the games. I don't think I'm responsible for that. We're only accounting for a very small time you're spending in your daily life. From a higher perspective, what we're creating is an interactive environment. When you see new games, you see the people who are playing games actually are a decrease in their vocabulary, but in our perspective, what we're working on is a true user's platform on which the essence of this platform is to create this platform where people can interact and enjoy the entertainment on this platform. The content you are interacting with is also created by other users. When you are playing this game, you are also creating content for other people. So you are dragging down each other's vocabulary. That's what I mean. What you are doing, you're stealing the pictures people are producing, and you are reposting what other people are producing. When you really want to post something interesting, people are not interested. If you just watch your WeChat moments for 3 years, your taste is actually going down. Absolutely. But people are actually reposting what you're posting on WeChat. But the taste of the community, the society, but we see the commercial value in it. Even if your vocabulary is 5 words, you can still do well in this industry. The game's damage on one's vocabulary is only on the surface, but the key is that you are simplifying a person's relations with the world. If you do not do well, you are beaten.
就是胜利，是吧？一切为了胜利。就是。
The gaming industry actually has a huge potential to help in the education of people, not necessarily to hinder. And I think that combination of gaming and education, which will happen, and it happens in other places, will in fact enrich people's vocabulary, will enrich people's experience, will lead to potentially better creation of content, because I think the gaming industry in many ways is producing more original content than the drama and other parts of the entertainment industry. So I have great hope in the gaming industry, but I take your point as well that we need to do all we can, and press releases with mistakes in, well, I hope you never get any from my company anyway. So.
刚才那个博范老师其实谈到了这个商业。
Bofan talked about commercial value and artistic value. I felt this is how I feel. At the end of the day, games provide interaction, instant feedback, instant responses. So, if like Rachel mentioned, education. If we can take these elements to education, it would work really well. If you can get immediate responses and positive simulation, you can do something well. I think you said something really well. Bofan mentioned the commercial value and artistic value. Let me look at this from an investor's point of view. Overall, I think at this stage, where China is now, I think commercial value is more pressing than artistic value. It's not like we're unable to write sensible slides, quality slides. We don't have the time. There's so much competition and anxiety. Let's say, why do we have so many trash films? Because we have 3 big video platforms that are competing with each other. So they have to produce so many films in a given period of time and put that online to encourage the non-paying viewers to pay a membership fee. It's not like we're lacking good directors and good actors. It's because at this stage of the development, the competition is really wild and rough. So at this stage, we can't risk focusing on the quality. And we need a larger proportion of the audience to pay. We can't make a film that's popular with everybody and no one pays to watch it. So the commercial consideration really trumps artistic considerations. So we have to consider how many paying viewers we can attract. But we are going to see positive change. Like recently, we're talking about King of Glory again. I think you probably account for a large share of the game market with this one game. So when you have saturation in the market, there will be room for high quality productions. I think this is a phasal thing, and at this stage where no one is firmly planted on the ground, but I think that's going to change soon. I think ultimately there should be no conflict between commercial and artistic values. Let me ask you, if you know one poem, one Tang Dynasty poem, if you know one piece of literature, what are the 2 pieces? Which poem and which piece of literature? Most people will say, I know one. The Huanghe Tower. And the only piece of ancient literature you might know is the story of Huanghe Lou. That's the historically successful example of content sales. So content marketing. So the tourism administrations of Hunan and Hubei, they didn't pay these ancient writers, but these 2 pieces of literature bring unlimited value to these 2 provinces. But here's the contradiction. This is the conflict. The writers are not there. The commercial value. When we talk about commercial value today, we're talking about commercial values that benefit the creators. So I'm actually quite concerned, quite worried, because our outlet is more about titanium. Titanium is more about technology news. So we're following the trends. Like let's say, NHA, the Hainan Airlines writes a 5-line release, and it's full of mistakes, and Baidu does a one slide with 3 mistakes, 3 typos. No, you're a shareholder, right? You're investor. That's Baidu. No, it's not about a lack of vocabulary. It's that they don't care. That's what I worry about. Let's say Hainan Airlines, all those typos, all these mistakes. Do they have no one who can spot these mistakes? No, they don't care about that process. They're not thinking whether this piece should be looked at by people who are educated in the group. The boss just wants to release it as quickly as possible. And when somebody who's making up a slide, putting together a slide, the person who are putting together the slides and people who are writing the press releases, the quality is not quantified. They only care about quantifying the income, for example. They want the they want the software engineers to write so many lines of codes in a day, but literature, literary quality cannot be quantified. So people who are working on these things cannot prove their value. They have become unimportant. This is actually the most worrying thing for me. I'm not saying the people who work at Baidu don't have the vocabulary. So we have a lot of anxiety, a lot of a lot of lack of attention because they are worried about the survival of their businesses. So that's the value that's reflected in their behavior. So we yes, we see some problems, but time can solve the problem, like Mr. Zhang said. We used to see vicious competition in the dairy industry. Now we see the same situation here. We pay for the duration of the drama, and the script writers just put all kinds of trash to make the drama longer in terms of time, and then people would dump on the quality. Then these script writers will be driven out of the market. Then we would be turning to higher quality content. And then we're going to have audiences who appreciate high quality drama. It's like supply side reform. Like you were saying, there's so much capital that have nowhere to go. But I think people who invest in entertainment are doing more good to the society than those who are investing in commodities, because you're stimulating transitions and improvements. And the industry actually isn't really successful in creating stars, because we only have so few stars that are monopolizing the industries. But creation of stars is a professional process, but now it's all about chance. Now all of a sudden you have a new star that's risen. But if you use the American model, the American TV drama model is story-centered, is script-centered. If you have a script, you can get anyone to act in it. You don't have to have big stars. And so more investment will go into the development of stories rather than the stars. If you look at the Dreams of Red Chambers of 1987, it was a great script. You didn't recognize any of the actors, but it's a classic that has been playing for 30 years. But we are talking about the new age of China's entertainment. So, but if you talk about where the scripts are good quality, it's like the pork prices. There are cycles. Whenever the quality is bad enough, you're going to see the emergence of a good quality piece. But we're losing to South Korea in terms of quality of content. But the thing is, if, let's say 100 years ago, if the Chinese people are talking about, they're saying, oh, if we stopped using traditional Chinese script, we're using simplified script, the people 100 years ago would go really mad. But if we go a few centuries back, the calligraphers realize the Chinese are not using calligraphy anymore. They're going to kill themselves too. But things are evolving. There are processes of simplifications, and technologies are moving forward. We might think there's things that we should not lose, we must not lose. If we turn back, if we look back, if you look at the things we used to have, they've just faded away. I used to practice calligraphy with paintbrushes, with brushes, but I'm not practicing that anymore because there are more efficient tools. There are more information-intense tools that we can use today. So in this new era, there are various ways for us to project our age. We used to study Tang Dynasty, Song Dynasty, poetry, and they were actually all songs back then, and it was actually entertainment back then. So in this era, if you look at the games, they may be our answer to poetry. We're not writing poetry anymore, but we have iQIYI. We have more intensive information. We have more intensive content. I think it's not bad. We shouldn't be burdened by the things that we might lose. If they fade away, they fade away. But if we see bad quality, we'll see fluctuation. No, what I think is, in whatever era, a few things that should not change. First of all, you should not be able to gain giant returns through minimal efforts. That would not last. That's not going to last. Then poor quality things will not last. Regardless how our world changes, be it Song Dynasty or today. No, maybe yes. In Song Dynasty, there was a lot of entertainment. People were singing, but high quality poetry. We're born in very different decades. You are more concerned about the current, and she's more optimistic about the future. Now, let's leave a little time for members of the audience to raise some questions. I am a journalist from Phoenix. Thank you for such an interesting debate. This is probably the best debate we have seen at this forum so far. Bofan was quoting a famous director, who said, trash audiences cause trash productions. But a lot of these marketeers are talking about how great a film is. Then we go and see it, and then we realize it's actually crap. Who do we blame? So, Mr. Ying and Bofan were debating like father and son. It was like a family debate between father and son. So I have a question. I agree with what Zhang said. Because of the commercial competition, the commercial value trumps artistic value. So why then? So our question really is how to change. So how to change that? So far, we're hearing, there's not much we can do. This is the environment today. No, the director has nothing to do, nothing he can do, and the editor has nothing they can do. But the members of audience are not stupid. We want to see high quality content. So which party is the capital? Is it the stars? The stars feel helpless. We're talking about these opinions, these debates. We have seen these debates in our master's dissertations. We're not stupid. Who's supposed to make these changes? Who's going to bring about a better situation, a better landscape? Other than that，
小辉老师也提到说，现场没有90后啊，我就是90后啊，我们90后也是对内容对高质量内容有要求的，这个锅我们不背啊。然后。
products. Well, let's answer this question from the platform's perspective. What do we do with improving the quality of a drama? We have 3 plans. One is Dolphin Plan, super online dramas. Number 2, we want to invest in some new young producers. Number 3, the Dolphin Plan, the Tiger Plan, and the last one is a Swan Plan. It's a training program to train the new actors, actresses. In the traditional dramas, the form of this drama, the business model is consistent with the model of when it's broadcasted on a TV station. The production model is consistent with this. The cycle is is like that, but the U.S. TV drama is relatively short. It's actually consistent with the paid user service online. So the market is actually asking for this kind of TV dramas. 1 year we have 1 season or one episode per week. And the story has to be very attractive so that people will be willing to watch this drama next week. But our traditional production model is not motivated enough to change the status quo. A famous director, after hearing our plans, he said, if you want to implement this plan, it's like making a TV drama. Each episode is 1 film. It will totally change the form of production in China. We have to encourage new stars, new directors, new producers to put effort in these new work. There are a lot of things we want to change. We have more than 10,000 movie production companies. The competition is very fierce. A lot of people are being... We have to make films that are consistent with the preferences of the younger generation, the audience. The production companies should always follow this model. They have to follow this model to make new films. We do not rely on celebrities. We rely on the stories, high-quality scripts. We focus on the storytelling. Every TV drama, we cannot make it that long. We can make a shorter, high-quality ones. I highly agree with what you have said. It's not that the trash audience brings out trash quality. What can we do in the future? The profit is very important. We have to be very serious in everything to be successful. The celebrity or every people in this industrial chain will have to be serious in what you do. Take Angelababy. She's not very serious. Then she will be in Gufang, such a bad quality drama series, because we have different actors, and that is related to how serious you are in this TV drama. If you're not serious, this model will not be sustainable. But if we want to continue, we want to have actors who are serious, like Zhao Ying. Thank you for sharing with us, and we look forward to a new age of China's entertainment.